My God, it has literally felt like 27 years since my last movie review. Don't you want it? Don't you want it? Don't you want it? Don't you want it?
Movie review, movie review, movie review, fuck you!
27 years. I dreamt of you. I craved you. I missed you.
It Chapter 2 is the continuation from It Chapter 1, in which the Losers Club, now all grown up, must return to their hometown of Derry to stop the evil Pennywise once and for all. You know, in this review, I'm not going to talk about how faithful or not faithful it is to the source material, because quite frankly, I don't give a shit. I'm here to talk about the movie, and I fucking loved this movie. In talking about this movie, I use the analogy of a 3-course dinner, because it reels you back in with the appetizer, which would be the opening scene, and it's just very brutal, it's uncomfortable, and it's really tragic. And the main bulk of this movie, the entree, is just really thick, it's meaty, it's filling, and judging by a lot of the complaints I see online, probably a little too filling for some people because they've bitched about how long this movie is. But in a movie like this, when there's a lot of shit you gotta cover, I think if they were to cut it down, it would have done a real disservice to the actual story and the characters. It's a film that, yeah, it's close to 3 hours long, but it's a film that needs to be 3 hours long. But the Pennywise gore was kicked up a notch. There were a lot of really good scares in there. There is a scene in there that involves the Paul Bunyan statue in the town square that literally almost made me shit my pants. Then you get to the dessert, the ending, which wraps everything up in a very nice, emotional, sweet sort of send-off. The only way I could describe the feelings I felt leaving the theater, it was just such a bevy of emotions. I was sad, I was happy, I was, I felt empowered. It just felt like I was taken on such an emotional roller coaster. I just walked out feeling blown away. In terms of the acting, everybody seems to be really heaping all the praise onto Bill Hader, and rightfully so. He does a fantastic job, but I really think all the adult actors did a phenomenal job. I think kind of singling out one of them is really hard. James McAvoy was brilliant. Jessica Chastain was brilliant. Isaiah Mustafa, I believe is his name, or Isaac Mustafa, the one who plays adult Mike. Probably the most underrated actor and performance in this movie. Once again, Bill Skarsgård as Pennywise delivers a fucking masterful performance. He is just as creepy and as dangerous and as vile and as funny as ever. There's a scene in particular that is very chilling. They kind of show it in the trailer where he comes out of the darkness and says hello. That whole scene is so unnerving. It's very much like the Georgie scene in Chapter 1. And it is legit horrifying. You know, never in a million years did I think that this guy would make me forget about Tim Curry. But holy shit, Bill Skarsgård is just phenomenal. There's no other word to describe it. He's just fucking phenomenal. But I will have to say, going back to Bill Hader, him as adult Richie, the chemistry he had with the actor who played adult Eddie, forgive me, I can't remember his name at the moment. My God, it was so good. They literally stole the show in every scene they were in. And the emotion between those two, it just leapt off the screen. And man, I'll admit, there were some moments I was shedding some tears for them, and it's hard to think of this movie as just a horror movie. It feels like it's more than just a horror movie. Like, just regulating it down into that genre, I think, is a big disservice to the movie itself. I feel like it's more than just, oh, it's just another fucking horror movie. No, it's not. It's a fucking epic. Now, there are a lot of people out there who will prefer Chapter 1 to Chapter 2, because realistically, Chapter 1 is a really tough act to follow. When it came out in 2017, nobody really knew what to expect, and then it just kind of snowballed and blew up into this big cultural phenomenon. But yeah, if you're one of those people out there that prefer Chapter 1 to Chapter 2, I can't blame you, but for me personally, I don't really look at this as a true sequel. In my opinion, a sequel is something that's written well after the fact, and it's trying to branch a new story off of the original. This is just the second part to one big story. Technically, it is a sequel, but I don't really think it is. It's just part 2 of one big story.
I was always Daddy's little girl. What about you? Are you still his little girl, Beverly? Are you?
Now, obviously, no film is perfect, and as much as I do love this thing, there are some parts and there are some moments in there that I think are odd or unintentionally funny or just kind of stupid. Now, one of the things I really didn't like in this movie were some of the CGI effects. I thought the naked granny reveal when Beverly is in her old apartment, I thought that looked a little cartoony. It looked odd. And after the initial shock of her running out of the darkness towards Beverly, it just looks really goofy and silly. And I think that's one of those things, like I said, that's kind of unintentionally funny about this movie. And there was also a weird moment in this movie with the song Angel of the Morning. Like, what the fuck was that about? Like, was it meant to be funny? Because, I mean, it did kind of make me chuckle in a way, but I don't get it. I don't get why it's there. It's a really interesting and odd editing choice. There was also an over-reliance and, dare I say, abuse of the misdirection jump scare. What I mean by that is, instead of having just a traditional jump scare where something just pops out, they kind of build towards a moment where it looks like something is going to pop out, and when the reveal is supposed to happen, there's nothing there. But then all of a sudden, when it cuts back to the person for their reaction, the camera will move to the side and something's right there in their face. That seemed like it was really kind of abused in this movie, and especially in the middle when all the adults are kind of separated and each trying to find their own little special totem for the ritual that they have to do to kill Pennywise, for lack of a better term. It just feels like the director relies on that a lot. A lot. I wouldn't say it's as bad as a Nightmare on Elm Street remake, but holy shit, it was pretty close. And you know, a lot of those scenes focusing on the adults felt a little too samey. It felt a little too rinse and repeat. However you want to describe it. They all kind of played out exactly the same way, and they all kind of telegraphed the scares in the same exact way. So that was a little disappointing to a degree, and I think when people say that they feel this movie is long, I think that that's probably one of the chief contributors to it. Now, you know, I still loved the movie, but I do have to admit that those scenes when they're going through each individual adult, going through Derry, but it's like they really had a strict template that they followed, and it all sort of felt kind of cookie cutter-ish. So, wing scale. I don't think there's any other choice that it could be except for a fucking atomic fire. There just aren't enough words to describe how beautiful this movie is. It Chapter 2 is everything I expected it to be. It's a movie that pulls no punches, it is relentless, it is chilling, it is funny, and it is strangely moving and emotional. Just another scary clown movie? Hell no. It is so much more than that. It is the culmination of a journey that was set into motion 2 years ago, and I don't think I could be any more satisfied than I am right now. And I can't wait for the eventual supercut to come out. Well, that was this fat guy's look into It Chapter 2. I hope if you're watching this video, you have gone to go see the movie. I highly recommend it. I don't think you'll be disappointed, although I know there are a lot of you out there that are. And I meant to get this review out like yesterday, but I've been battling a really bad cold, some of which I'm still kind of feeling the remnants of here. But what did you think of the movie? Please post your comments below. Did you love it? Did you hate it? Were you disappointed? Or were you like me and you were just fucking over the moon for it? Anyways, like I said, post your comments below. As always, like, comment, and subscribe. Adios, and GTFO!